Hello, this is Richard from Reidys Home of Music in Blackburn, and I'm here with Mark from Boss, and today we're going to have a look at the Boss MS-3. I've purposely stayed away from these. These got delivered a couple of weeks ago, and I've stayed away from them so that today is actually the first time I see them, so I'm a newcomer to this. So
is today your Christmas day, is it?
It is a little bit, yeah. So if you can just give us basically a quick overview of what it is and what it can do first.
Okie dokie. So the Boss MS-3, it's a multi-effects switching system. It's a whole new concept, Rich. It's not an effects unit, and it's not just a switching system. It's kind of like a crossover product between the two. So it features a number of key features that are on an effects unit, such as multi-effects. It also features unique things like a switching system has, where you can choose your favourite pedals, plug them in, and also utilise them within, when you create a patch. One of the big things about this is really tiny. I don't know whether you can see this hopefully on the board. I've set this up. It's a little portable flight case I've got carrying around at the moment, and it's on a BCB60. So it's really easy to. It takes up, I think, 3 standard Boss compact pedals, space on that. And also I've had a look at some of my favourite Boss Wazacraft pedals. So I've got the Super Overdrive, the Blues Driver, and the Analog Delay. The beauty in that, I can plug these in to the MS-3, and essentially within the patch that I create, I can incorporate these, the loops. So it could be any pedal, it's not just these are just some of my favourite pedals. Because you've got the multi-effects part of it, what you've got is 111 effects that you can choose from. So if you imagine 111 effects on this floor, that would be probably the whole size of the room, or at least the size of the door.
I think we know people whose effects boards are that big as well.
Yes, I have had several in the past, but yes, the older you get, the more wise you get, and the smaller it gets. So
that's why there's a lot of people now that are looking at making the rig smaller, and from what I've seen in the last 5-10 minutes, it looks like it can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about some of the, I'll give you a quick brief overview of some of the features on it. It's got 111 effects you can choose from. Now, it's really important to know on this that it's not just for guitar players. I've already seen a few people asking questions about, are we bringing an MS-3B out?
Yeah.
But essentially, this is an MS-3B because within those 111 effects, there are pedals or effects optimized for bass players, not just for guitar players. So we're not leaving the bass players out. You can plug your bass into this, and away you go. You've got again a portable unit that you can use with your own compact pedals.
Presume as well. So if you're a guitar player and bass player, say if you play bass in one band, guitar in one band, you can set it up for one band for your guitar, and then with obviously a bit of adjustment, you can have it set up so you've got presets ready for your bass as well.
You could do that either way. I mean, the beauty of having the different patches and different presets for bass and guitar is you've got 200 empty locations there, or locations available to you. You've got 50 banks of 4. So essentially you've got 200 spaces for it. I don't know. I'm probably 5, if I use 5 patches, I don't know. Or even 5 pedals, to be honest with you, nowadays. But you've got enough space there to do it. Within the 111 effects you've got, Rich, you've also got a dedicated noise suppressor. And I'll come to some of the unique things you can do with the effects in a bit. But also what we've got is the dedicated tuner on board, which is, again, that's taken up less real estate.
Yeah, so you don't have to, one of you 3 doesn't have to be a tuner because you've got
doesn't have to be. You don't have to bring a tuner in. And again, it's really easy to engage. All we do is this says memory manual. We hold it for 2 seconds. Instantly, there's your tuner. And what's cool about it is it mutes the sound. Obvious, it's a tuner, but I think, for guys who are using various guitar changes on stage, you're not going to worry about getting pops and clicks and, making the PA guy's head don't explode with the big pop and the click, so you can do that. So it's got a hell of a lot in there. I think one of the unique things about it is the fact that all the effects blocks, when I say effects blocks, you've got these 3 loops, so they could be anything you want. Again, something unique to it, and again, a few people have already asked this question about can it be used like a 4-cable method. A lot of guys use that nowadays who are using amplifiers where they want to be able to use effects going into the front end of the amp, and then stuff like modulation, time bass, delays and reverbs going into the power amp stage. All you do is literally use one of the loops. Most people are going to use loop 3.
Yeah.
And then they'll use that as the insert point for the 4-cable method. If that doesn't make sense, check out 4-cable method.
Yeah.
Because it is a really popular thing that people are using nowadays. So you can do that with it. The other cool thing I like about having control about being on stage or in a studio is the fact that within each patch that you set, you've got this thing called manual mode. And with one button pressed, it's the button that you press for your tune, you just press it, and it opens up essentially like stompbox mode.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there you've got 4 little banks there, and I presume obviously those will correlate.
They're fully assignable, yeah. I mean, I think we'll go into something a bit later where you create something from scratch, and then I will show you how to assign these numbers to, or the buttons within manual mode to be your specific type of pedals you want to engage, because there's a hell of a lot of choice there, 111.
Yeah.
But within a patch, you can also really get access, because some people, myself, I'm one of those guys that like to have it, rather than just patch changes, I like to have a little control over stuff within the patch. For example, bringing in, say, a chorus or a delay, knocking off the overdrive pedal, because there's the sound that you want is there. You don't want to keep changing patches. You just want a bit more control.
Yeah, okay.
So you can do that with as well. Some of the other things that it can do, it's got a dual amps mode on it. When I say mode, it's got 2 outputs on it, so you can go dual amp A, you can go amp B. So you can have a clean amp, you could have an amp that's running dirty. And within each specific patch, within the outputs on it, you can then dictate where does this patch or chain of effects go to. Which leads me on to the other important note on it, is the fact that there's no amp simulations on it, no speaker simulations. So this is definitely for guys who are using amplifiers, and that's the main core of the
so
biggest guitar.
They've got they spent a bit of money on a nice amp. They want the sound of the amp. They don't want a simulated one.
Exactly.
And then all they want is effects. And obviously you can use your favourite drive pedals or whatever, and then use modulations, delays, and that kind of thing from that.
Exactly. I think you mentioned a really good point earlier on about, like, most people nowadays are looking at trying to downsize the rigs and make it a bit more portable. And I've done this many times where I've got, big pedal boards, possibly, 12, 15 pedals on it.
Yeah.
And you get that bug where you go, I'm going to go really downsize it now. So I start off with my volume pedal, and then I go, okay, what do I need? I need a good drive pedal. Okay, I need a good modulation pedal, need a good delay pedal. And then actually, this song, I do use a vibrato on it. And then the next minute, you've got your 15 down to, like, say, 12, and you think, why did they even start this? So I think this is going to be a really good option for those guys who, it's not going to replace your big pedal board, but it's going to give you options of how 111 effects. There's a hell of a lot on that. You can literally choose anything you want on it. There's some unique stuff on this as well, which we'll come to when I do some sound examples. Some of the Boss multi-dimensional processing effects, such as like terror echo, overtones.
Those are great.
Now, I think we were talking earlier on, you made a really good point about the dimensional processing effects. They can be essentially personalised to each player, and the player can dictate the level of effect and how the effect interacts with the sound, depending on their pick attack, because it's dynamic. So again, this is really, really unique, high-powered, intelligent effects.
So it's got essentially the Terra Echo built into the MS-3.
Yeah.
Right. So it has got reactive kind of effects built into that.
Exactly. Yeah. So depending on your playing style, you can dictate the amount of echo. And again, we'll do some examples in a bit, which will showcase that for you. Other things it's got, I've got on the floor with me a Roland DV5 pedal, plug that straight in. That's acting as my volume pedal. I absolutely love volume pedals. I always, whatever board I've got, I have to have a volume pedal. I think it's a very musical pedal. It's also got control ins. It's got they've got the expression in, but it's also got controls as well. So, for example, if you've got your amplifier, you want to have a patch where when you press one button, it changes the channel on your amplifier as well.
All right, so we can do that
as well. Yes, just a straightforward TRS cable comes out of the control out, goes into the back of your amp. As soon as you engage it in the on position, which I'll show you in a bit, really, really easy, that will then change the channel of your amplifier also. Right. So it's really, really powerful, really, really portable. Lots and lots of things you can do.
You say you've got the EV5 as a volume.
Yes.
Can you assign that to anything else, like a wah or
anything
something
you
want?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the cool thing I like about Boss stuff is a lot of the things that I like. As soon as you plug things in like expression or control pedals, they tend to control the things that are the most common. These guys who want kooky effects and weird stuff. that's where you can then assign it to control anything you want. You've got a pitch shifter mode on there where you might want to control this to be like a whammy effect. You could be an effect level. So if you've got like a really specific delay effect where you can bring the level of the delay in. It's literally endless. You know, you can assign, you give these assignments. We call them assign modes on it. They can be given any assignment you want. But straight out of the box, another important thing to mention is that it does have presets on it. So you can plug this in. You don't even have to plug your loops in. I'm going to say loops. I mean the other pedals that you might want to utilise with it. You could just plug your guitar into this, go straight to your amp, and you've got all those effects on board. And stuff like that.
Again, this is probably for people that are using different pedals, maybe different bands and whatnot. You could turn up to a gig or a practice with the MS-3 and use it essentially as a multi-effects pedal.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you've got your other band, that's when you put all your drive pedals in and use it for the switching as well. Yeah,
I've had many conversations recently since we launched this, especially at the moment of the season, there's a lot of festivals ongoing.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, especially if you're in bands that are doing a lot of work over the summer season with festivals, you tend to get as many gigs in as you can, and you're doing 2 or 3 gigs in a day. So you might have your big pedal board that's on the way to a location, it's on a stage somewhere, it's in a studio. You may have 2 or 3 sessions in the afternoon, or like radio sessions, another little small, like intimate type gigs and stuff like that before you go on the main stages and stuff. This is perfect for those guys. So you don't have to take the massive pedal board with you. Not all of us have got roadies and stuff. So it makes life a little bit easier for you. And then you can turn up to your main gig in the evening, and if you've got your big pedal board there, it's all done and dusted. So it's a great unit, great option. And again, it's I think it will open a few people's eyes who have been reluctant to go into the, like yourself, effect switching systems. That, you like tap dancing, yeah?
I do, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Well, maybe this is where it all ends.
This could be it, Rich. It could be it. So, for those guys who are thinking about, the idea of effect switching systems, but I'm not that comfortable. I think once you find out how easy it is to set up, how easy it is to utilise alongside all the, the power that's inside it, all the effects and things like that, the amp switching capabilities. I haven't even mentioned it's got MIDI on it as well. So if you've got MIDI pedals or MIDI devices that you want to control, change patches, you can do that within your patch as well. So it's everything you can think of, it'll do it. One question I think we've had as well previously is the 3 loops, or the 3 pedals that you can plug in within the chain. Those 3 loops are locked.
Yeah.
Okay. However, there are 7 other blocks available to you. When I say blocks, I mean effects blocks, like a modulation block, and you've got, you can see there's many different types, like vibrato, chorus, flange, phase, blah blah blah, delay blocks, stuff like that. Within those 7 other blocks, they can be moved anywhere within the chain. So it can be moved before it, they can be moved after it. Again, giving you a lot more flexibility. Yes, that's a little brief overview of the MS-3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best thing to do now is hear how it sounds.
Let's hear how it sounds, shall we?
think the first thing to note is that it has got preset sounds built in, hasn't it? So even straight out of the box, you can get going with it and you can get some nice sounds out of it.
Yeah, absolutely right, Rich. Straight out of the box, you have got presets on there that'll give you some different sound examples. So it'll give you some ideas, it'll get the creative juices flowing, so to speak. So again, switch it on. This is like the first sound you get, I'll say natural clean. So you can tell there's a little bit of compression on it. You've got like a slight delay on it. For your reference, if you have a little look at where it says underneath the 3 dials, you will see 3 LED lights lit. One will say FX1, one will say delay, one will say reverb. If you want to know what those pedals are or they're engaging, if we hit the manual mode, you can see, yes, that's a compressor. 4, delay, is it? Patch 2's got a nice. Okay, so you can see loop 1's engaged, although my pedal is switched off. So I've switched it on.
Engage number 2, that would bring in the blues driver, and you'd have 2 overdrives stacked then.
You could do. Let's have a go. So this is just again within the manual mode, and we're having to play with the different sound. This one should be like a slapback, is it? So that's a classic, if you're into punches.
So if you go to manual mode as well, now that will bring up what you're using.
Yeah, so on
you're
this
using
one
a
now,
delay that's built in.
We've actually got this
MS-3.
now is using a tape echo.
Yeah.
Because it's not just delay, there's different types of delay in it as well.
Yeah.
So it could be like an analog delay, digital delay, tape echo delay. So you've got various options there as well. And on this one, we're using, within FX1, we're using like an overdrive pedal. So we're not using the loops here. This is going to be an overdrive on the unit. So although it doesn't have amp simulations and speaker simulations, it will have all the classic overdrive pedals, distortion pedals and stuff like that. So stack it, yeah.
So again, if you've got 2 of your favourites, say you've got some nice overdrive pedals or something, you can use 2 of your favourites from that might be a main sound, but then if you want a completely different sound for like one mid-late or something, you can use one of the ones built in there.
Absolutely. And again, if you want something that's really something you can put in your gig bag or something to carry, you don't even have to have the 3 loops on it.
Yeah.
You've essentially got everything that you'll ever need to do a gig with it. But it's giving you these options of inserting, your favourite pedals, whether it's drive pedal, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can plug in anything that you want on it. I think the last one, before we go to some of the sounds or some of the patches that I've put together, and we'll go into a bit more depth then. I think this one is some of the modulation type stuff. Manual mode on that one. Okay, so we've got, and you can also see now you've got tap tempo.
All right.
Again, these can be controlled with anything you want. It doesn't have to be pedal on off. It could be tap tempo. You can hear the way it's affecting the.
Yeah.
Phase with the flange and the delay. There we go. So a couple of, again, straight out the box, I've just gone through patch 1 to patch 4. There's lots of different sounds that you can get even just by playing with the manual mode, memory mode on it. Lots of stuff you can do. What I'm going to do now, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing with my feet here, but to go up, to go down through the banks, to go up, you press pedal 3 and 4, and it'll say bank 2. If you want to go on bank 2, which patch do you want to go on it? Okay, that's how you do it. If you want to go down, it's patch number 1 and 2. I'm going to go down because I'm going to go to some of the patches that I put together. So on these, there's 4 patches that I did on this one, utilising the 3 analog pedals that are there to my right. So I've got the Wazacraft, overdrive, blues driver, and the delay. First one, I think I've actually named it as well, so I can see reference. You know, that's always cool. If you've got something with a number on, that's good. But if you're in the middle of a gig and it's like, okay, which effects have got on, it'll actually, you can write down, I've got compression, SD1W. And I can also see as well with the red LED, I've got, there's a delay and there's also a reverb on it.
Or you could name them after songs and then have each bank as in your set as each song.
You can have fun with that. I've had fun with that in the past with different names of songs which are slightly different to confuse certain people. But there you go. So this is like a really classic sound. If I turn the delay off on it first. This is just the SD1W, a really transparent, beautiful overdrive, the Wazacraft version. So this is like the premium boutique version, and it's just a compressor with reverb on. If I'm using the expression pedal, it's actually it's set after the drive channel, so it's not acting like you know, if you've got a drive. Turn the compressor off. It's just got it as a. We can move it anywhere in the chain, so you could have it before. So. Essentially, that's going to then act as your volume on your guitar. So, for instance, on this patch, and again, this wasn't something that I think it literally took me probably a minute and a half to do this, because I'll go into this a bit later where we initialize a patch, which means we create a blank canvas. So it's like, okay, we've got all this available, let's put our patch in Creator. So I'll show you how to do that really easy. But on this particular one there, I think I use this as my overdrive. Compression, and also then I had chorus and I had delay, straight away. So again, that's a patch that instantly. And while I was playing around with FX2, FX2 is a block where I just flicking through some of the funky effects that you've got, and I came across the slow gear. Do you remember the Boss slow gear effect?
Yeah.
So a slow gear is essentially where I use a volume pedal to do, you know. If I wanted to, I can engage the slow gear. It's doing it for me, so you know there's slow gears you can add on it and things like that. If you go to the second patch, I'm using the analog delay, I'm using chorus and compression, so we get this nice. Brigade, warm delay turning off.
That is nice. And that's using the red pedal that we've got there, isn't it?
Exactly, that's the DM2W. So if I go into the manual mode, I can engage a delay pedal. So there's 2 delays on there. If I switch the analog delay off now, you'll.
Yeah, that's a different one.
If I want to get really funky on it, I've got another delay. Different delays you can have ping, you know, there's within the blocks, because you can have 7 on at once, blocks plus your 3. different loops. I think you can have 3 different types of delays going on, all
right.
ping pong effects.
So if you want to do the whole edge U2 thing,
if you want to be very rhythmical or percussive, is that the word? Percussive? Possibly.
It works. Yeah.
Okay.
That,
you could do that as well. Yeah. So there's that patch there. Patch 3 again, really standard stuff I'm going through. This is what we all use. This is just like the blues drive. Fourth one is stacking the overdrive. So I've got the SD1 going into the blues driver, a really big sound. The delay I'm using on this is the Terra Echo. So this is the dimensional one. So I'm going to be able to utilize or manipulate the effect to the way I play the guitar.
How the effect sounds depends on how you pick it, isn't it?
So initially, when this comes on, this sound, it's going to be a really, really big guitar sound. It'll be a... So if I press number 4, let me do that one again. Getting too excited here. That's what the problem is. So this is the one that's going to sound really, really loud. Lots of different gain stages on a big echo. Stuff. Yeah. So there's a couple of examples there for you, how to use some of the pedals or your favourite pedals inside a patch.
Right, so I think the next thing is we will create a patch from scratch.
Patch from scratch.
Didn't mean to rhyme, but that's what we're going to do.
That's a word.
And I think I'm going to challenge you to
oh dear.
try and
run a marathon.
Yeah, you can do that if you want, yeah.
Dodgy knees.
Get a bit of a Johnny Marr-esque sound from scratch.
Okay. We'll do that, yeah. That's how it goes.
Notes in there, but usually is when I play.
It's jazz, man.
So before I challenged Mark to try and get a Johnny Marr-esque kind of sound using the MS-3. So, well, you've done it for a start. That's pretty.
Did you enjoy that?
I did very much so. Yeah.
The icon that is Johnny Marr, legend.
And just so you know as well, we're going through the Katana 100, 212, despite there being a jazz chorus down there, which he did use. So, if you can walk us through how he got from basically a blank canvas to this sound, that would be great.
Okay, what I'm going to do then with you folks, I'm going to initialise a patch first, because when you initialise a patch, essentially what we're doing is, it's a blank canvas. It's a piece of paper with nothing on it, so then we can actually start drawing, we can create colours, sounds, basically what it is. So, I'm going to be bending down a little bit now, so you might see the top of my head. First thing we need to do is we press exit and enter, which it also says right. So if we press the two of these buttons together, what happens is it opens up a screen called a utility, or a right utility screen. These three dials, if we move one of them across to where it says initialize, if I press enter on that now, press enter again. Now, when you play for me, okay. So we've got essentially a blank canvas now. There's no effects on it. It's straight in from the guitar, straight into the amplifier. Okay, so Johnny Marr used lots of cool stuff, really loads of cool stuff, and I'm going to show you now how to do it, and I'm going to guide you through this, and I'm also going to mention the buttons that I'm going to press. So if you want to try this at home, you know, come join us, pick your guitar up, and when you've got your MS-3, let's create this Johnny Marr patch together. So first thing we need to do is there's a button called edit. We press the edit button. This will then open up on the LCD screen. You will see your chain, or your patch chain. And this is where you can select all the effects that you want to use, the different types of effects, the type of order you want to have the digital effects that are on the MS-3, either before or after the three analog pedals in the loop. So, first things first, what we need to get an iconic Johnny Marr sound, if I go into modulation 1, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter. When you press enter on that, that looks instantly familiar to me now. That looks like a Boss pedal similar to any one of those three there, where you've got dials that you control. And you've got 1, 2, 3 dials. So if you can see there, this is altering these exactly what it would alter on a normal standard pedal. You've got also 2 functions called like page right, page left. So this gives you them more options. So some pedals don't just have 3 dials on it, they may have 5 or 6. So you've got like more extra pages where you can go into dial. So on this particular patch, so yeah, the left dial is select. So that selects which effect block you want to be able to engage or manipulate. Switch on, off, change. So we're going to do mod 1. The middle dial moves it within the chain if you want to. I'm quite happy to leave it there at the moment, because the effect that I want to use, which is dial 3, and this is where it gets really cool. You can actually see then all the different effects that are at your disposal, really. So I think what we did before, we had a look at a nice tremolo effect. It's not on at the moment, so if Rich plays the guitar, how I engage that, I just press this thing called on-off. Really easy, okay? So I press it on, Rich plays now. We've got that really nice lush vibrato sound straight away. So I'm happy with that now. I want to add another effect now, which is again a classic sound called the chorus sound, which is iconic for Johnny Marr. So let's go back to the board. Dial 1. We will scroll across to, as you're highlighting, where it'll say mod 2. So you've literally got those effects available to you again. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use dial 3 to select chorus, which is actually the very first one on there. I'm going to switch it on. Alright, this is starting to get in the ballpark now. Okay. Dial 1. I'm going to scroll once across to where it says delay. I'm going to switch delay on. And then I'm going to switch reverb on. And if you play that riff again for me. Essentially, that's all I did to create that patch. The next stage for you guys now is if you've joined us now and you've got that exact sound, you want to then write this into memory, and then you may want to name it. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to write this into a patch, and I'm going to call it Johnny. Everyone knows what this one is. So I'm going to do the exit and enter button again, which is into the utility screen. The very first thing it highlights is called write. So we press enter. Yes, we want to write this as a patch. We're going to save it to this target, which is, you've got you've got 50 patches, you've got 200 locations. So I'm happy to save it here. This is the bit now where you can name it. Dial 1 is the character, so you can then scroll to whatever you want. So if I say J, cursor moves it across. The right dial or the third dial is like for numbers and stuff like that. So if I go J-O-H, no, my alphabet. There we go. You can actually play some riff for me, Rich, while I'm doing this. Done. So now we've got that patch is exactly the same. The only thing I haven't done is engage loop 1, which is the overdrive booster.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that again for you and then save it and see how quick it is to add something to your patch. So again, I'm going to press edit. I'm going to use the left or the very first dial to where it says L1, loop 1. This is loop 2, loop 3, the way it's wired up. If I switch loop 1 on, have you played that riff again, and I'll bring that in. So since we've brought that loop in, if I want to save that now because I've engaged it, exit and enter says right. If I press enter, I'm happy. It's already named Johnny. There we go.
So I can use this setup and then doing that, obviously, it knocks the overdrive off.
Yeah,
I can use it as a bit of a boost.
Do that riff again that you did at the start. There we go. That's how we create the patch from scratch.
Easy enough.
Easy to do.
Sounds good. Yeah, cheers
Happy?
for that. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Anytime.